Hey everybody, it's HeroicMizu here. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you all about alts, how you can level them up faster, quicker, try to basically be more time efficient about how you can level them up and basically how I'm doing it. So if you haven't seen my last video, I decided to stay at item level 1340, and the reason why I'm staying around here is because I find that it costs actually too much in order to get to 1370 as a free-to-play player, and basically I'm just time gated. So I find that it's actually a better use of time in order to play on my ults, try to level up my ults, and get them to tier 2, tier 3, and eventually funnel up all those materials into my main character. So eventually I will be able to upgrade and hopefully get to 1370 with a bit of luck and also a tons of resources. So let's get to how you can level up your ult quicker, faster, and the first couple things I'm going to really cover at a really high level because at this point you should be able to get to tier 3 and understand some of the basics about the game already. But if you're not tier 3 currently, well, I'm going to go through it really quick. So first of all, we're going to go check out your stronghold. So before you get started, I highly recommend that you push your main character into tier 3. And there's some really good benefits about pushing your character to tier 3 and also trying to push your stronghold. So first of all, if we check out the lab, currently I have completed every single thing in my stronghold, but if you check out my completed section, basically, there's going to be a section called roster help. So here you can basically get an increased honing chance for tier 1 and tier 2 gear. So I think it's about a 20% increase to the base, and it's pretty huge and it will help you long term. Pushing your character up to tier 3 and also doing your stronghold will help you increase the honing chances on your ult. So I highly recommend that you do this first and foremost before you start playing on your ult. So the first couple things I'm going to cover at a really high level. You should ideally be doing your dailies, weeklies. You should focus on the ones that give you shards and leap stones. Those are the two things that I find that I need the most on my ults, and I find myself trying to reach out to other currency NPCs in order to get more of these shards and also leap stones as well. However, I also do other quests as well, just to increase the reputation status. So you can pick and choose what you can do. You can get really nice rewards, such as here, it's a kindness potion. There's also some nifty stuff like stat increase potions. So eventually you'll want to complete all these reputation status quests. So min-max scenario, you should be picking the ones that give you the most honor leap stones. The most I've seen for tier 3 is 5. In tier 2, it's going to give you a higher amount. Also for the shards, you can pick the highest amounts as well. And on top of it, for your weeklies, you should ideally pick the PvP ones. PvP ones give you quite a lot of leap stones, and on top of it, I believe if you just do your chaos dungeon one, it gives you a lot of honor shards as well. So you can pick and choose what you want to do. So that pretty much covers your dailies, weeklies. You should also be doing your chaos dungeons here. So if you're in tier 2, you're going to be able to do lower level chaos dungeons. And on top of it, if you're on your main character and you're in tier 3, basically do your 2 aura resonance runs per day, but you can go back to Phaeton and Rohendel and farm out these chaos dungeons for the guardian shards here. And for Rohendel, you can farm out the perception shards here. So with these shards, you can talk to the chaos vendor and you'll be able to exchange it for enhancement materials for your other characters. These shards here, if you see here for the shard of purification, this is a tier 3 shard. It's bound to your roster. You can transfer these shards in your inventory so your other characters can access it and exchange it for enhancement materials. I find that it's a lot faster and a lot more time efficient for my main character to actually go through the runs and clear it for the shards. However, if you do decide to clear on your ult, it's probably going to take you a little bit more time in order to clear these dungeons. However, you'll be able to get guardian shards and also destruction stone fragments from these instances. They're bound to your character. However, on my server, these 2 stones are so cheap that it's actually not worth it, so I rather run these chaos dungeons on my main character instead. And after you finish your chaos dungeons, you can go on and do your guardian raids. And one important thing that you should know about your guardian raids is that you should complete each one of them once, because you're going to get a one-time reward bonus per character for each boss. And on top of it, if you don't have enough time in order to do guardian raids every day, you can let the rest bonus accrue and you can do it every other day. And on top of it, each week, as you continue to level through your character, if you meet the correct thresholds for the requirements, you can do your abyssals as well for additional materials. If you have a buddy that can help you, basically your buddy can carry you throughout all these instances, and for the most part you can do the same thing for their characters as well as a trade-off. You can do the same thing with this for the guardian raids in order to try to complete everything quicker. So this requires you to coordinate with some friends or maybe meet someone on Discord that's willing to help you out every day at a set time. However, there's a couple things that I want to talk to you about in order for you to get materials a lot quicker, better, and also possibly cheaper. So you may be wondering if you should buy these honing materials. There's a lot of honing materials on the auction house. However, before you dive deep into this, you should actually use as much resources that the game gives you. So currently I'm on my main, and if you look here, this is the tower. The first time you clear the tower, it is going to give you a whole bunch of one-time rewards here. I highly recommend that you clear the tower on your main character and do the Shade Spire and the Fate Spire and clear the whole thing once you're in tier 3. It should be fairly easy. Some of the stages may be a little bit tricky, but for the most part, you should be able to clear it. Because the second time that you clear this, it's going to give you all honing materials. Alright, so I'm currently on my bard, and you check out the tower here, you're going to see that for the Shade Spire, all the rewards here are going to be tier 1 enhancement materials. I highly recommend that you clear all this in order to try to get as much as you can. If I go to the Fate Spire, it's the same, except it's tier 2. It gives you actually quite a lot. It can help you boost you up to plus 12, plus 13 if you basically hit all the honing chances for the most part, and it gives you a lot of materials. So I highly recommend that you do this. However, I'm going to tell you the truth about this. The tower is actually hard, especially if you're playing on alt, a character that you're just trying to rush, you don't really know how to play the character. I highly recommend that you look up a build on max roll and try to pick out a build that's pretty decent. Try to pick out skills that can actually help you, and certain classes will be able to clear the tower a lot easier. I find that range characters can do the tower fairly easy. For melee, it's going to be a little bit difficult, or maybe I just suck at melee, but for the most part, range characters are a lot easier. For my bard, it was actually quite tough because a lot of bard skills require cast time, and if you miss position, you're gonna get destroyed. So I tried to do some of these stages over and over again, and some of these stages are really difficult. On my range DPS, I was able to clear some of the tower all the way up through the whole thing. However, for certain classes, I decided to stop around, basically for the Shade Spire, I decided to stop around level 45 because once I start getting to 45, some of these stages were actually too hard. I didn't have enough DPS, and for the most part, I don't want to waste too much time in order to try to get it. The next thing that I want to talk about is the cube and also the boss rush tickets. I do not recommend that you do them in the beginning. I highly recommend that you wait until you're close to about plus 13, plus 14 in enhancing your gear. Because by then, if you get lucky enough, you're going to be able to get multiple tickets. So if you get to, let's say, the Elite Cube, because I'm currently in tier 2, if I had 3 tickets here, I can do all 3 tickets at once. So if I click on matchmaking right now, it'll be able to use 3 tickets if I select that. But for the most part, I would wait till the end because the rewards that you can get here is the Moon's Breath for tier 2. For tier 1, it's going to be the Star Breath. I believe for tier 1, I got around 75. So it gives me about 25 Star Breaths per completion if I clear the whole entire cube. And, you know, the downside also is if you use 3 tickets at once and if your whole party fails, well, you're not going to get as many Star Breaths and you essentially wasted 3 tickets. So pick and choose what you want to do, but for time efficiency's sake, I like using 3 tickets at once so I don't have to play as much. So for the boss rush, if you check out here for the Hall of Silence for tier 2, it's going to give you a lot of life leap stones. So make sure you do these at the end. And also, if you do get a boss rush ticket, if you check out your weeklies here, there is a boss rush quest that you can get for about 15 life leap stones. After exhausting all the materials from the tower, boss rush, and cube tickets, you can also join a guild as well. You can get additional materials by exchanging the bloodstones from the Bloodstone NPC. And if you check out here for honing materials, you can get Harmony Shard pouches. You can also get tier 2 as well if I keep flipping through the page. There's a weekly limit of 1. However, there's a weekly limit of 2 if you get to a higher tier. So ideally you want your characters into a guild. However, I know that guild slots are very limited. So what you can do, and which is what I did, I created my own guild. So you can create your own guild. Just do the basic level for check-ins and you'll be able to get a whole bunch of these bloodstones. You're going to be able to exchange these for shard pouches. I know it's not a lot, however, every little bit matters before you actually have to dive deep into other areas that I'm about to show you where to get enhancement materials. The next place where you can get additional enhancement material is super important. I highly recommend you do this. If you're in tier 3, you're probably taking advantage of this because you're selling your unbound materials on the auction house in order to exchange it for gold and buying blue crystals and buying the enhancement materials off Mari's secret shop. This is what you have to do. This is how everyone's leveling their ult so quick. This is the secret, especially for free-to-play players. In tier 3, you can farm gold up so quick by selling the tier 3 enhancement materials, and in return, you can use the currency exchange in order to exchange it for blue crystals, and then once you go back to the shop, you can buy these tier 3 enhancement materials. Majority of these items are cheaper in Mari's secret shop than actually buying it on the auction house. On my server, the only things that aren't really worth it are stuff like the destruction stones and the guardian stones, but for the most part, everything else is worth it. And I highly recommend that you use this. I know some of you don't really like using Mario Secret Shop thinking it's pay to win. However, I have not swiped in this game. The only thing I bought is the Founders Pack and I earned everything in game. And pretty much I'm able to get a steady flow of enhancement materials. So if you haven't used this, I highly recommend that you search up Mario Secret Shop Calculator on Google. So this spreadsheet should pull up. You'll be able to type in how much each item costs on the auction house and figure out a conversion rate, whether or not it's worth it to buy it from Mario Secret Shop. I highly recommend that you do this. You're going to save lots of time, lots of gold, and you'll be able to level up your characters a lot quicker. So I don't recommend that you actually purchase all these items and use them on your character, especially if you're about to jump up to the next tier, because you might be wasting some of these materials. But for the most part, you can just buy most of these items and then you can just leave it stocked up into your inventory and eventually just claim on your character. They don't really expire, so you don't have to worry about that. But eventually you'll be able to claim this, and Mario Secret Shop will be on a constant rotate every single 4 hours. So Mario Secret Shop will really help you. This is the secret to leveling up your ult quicker, faster, and making it more time efficient, saving you gold in the process. So I highly recommend that you use this. There's a couple more areas where you can get additional enhancement materials. It's going to be in your Procyon's Compass. So the Ghost Ship, Chaos Gate, and Field Boss will have additional materials. For the Field Boss and Chaos Gates, you should be doing that on your main for tier 3 in order to get better enhancement materials. However, for the Ghost Ship, if you're not 1370, you can't enter. So for a tier 2 character, you should be entering that Ghost Ship, or if you have a tier 1 character, enter that Ghost Ship as well, because you're going to get a whole bunch of tier 1 or tier 2 enhancement materials depending on each one that you do. So make sure you do that earlier in the week, so by the time you're about to move on to the next tier, you can use up all those Star Breaths or Moon Breaths that you can get from the Ghost Ship. There's also one more place that I want to show you where you can get materials. Currently I'm in the port, and in any port there's going to be NPCs here. They're going to be marked by these blue boat icons on your map. And also you can see here there's going to be a traveling merchant ship called the T and Libra Guild Vessel. So if you talk to this NPC, there's going to be a normal tab at the top. You're going to be able to see that you can exchange enhancement materials for pirate coins. I don't like using this because pirate coins are fairly difficult to get. However, if I'm desperate and I'm really close to an enhancement and all I need are a couple pouches, I'll exchange it for my pirate coins. So see here, if I change this to 5, which is the max I can get per week, it costs around 2,000 pirate coins. And if you have multiple alts going, these pirate coin costs will really add up. So if you wanted to get more pirate coins, you're going to have to be doing your quests on the Procyon's Compass. You're going to be doing the Adventure Islands, the ones that give you pirate coins, and also doing your co-op sailing quest. So you can do that as well for pirate coins. So you actually need to do quite a bit in order to get them. So I feel like it's not really worth it. So if you're desperate, I would use this NPC, but for the most part, I would try to avoid this NPC as much as you can. So that pretty much covers most of the places where you can get materials. There's another section that I want to show you, which is the knowledge transfer machine in the Stronghold. So if you unlock this in the Stronghold, it's located on the bottom left of your map. And if you talk to the NPC, you're going to be able to skip certain parts of the story. It's really helpful, especially if you're trying to go fast. So at first, when you get into tier 3, you may not have a lot of gold. I totally understand this. I was really cheap as well. I was like 600 gold? No way. I might as well just level up my character manually. However, the amount of time that you save with the knowledge transfer is enormous. So if you look here, I know the gold cost goes up, so it's 600 for Vern, Rohandel is 1,000, Yorn is 1,400, Vaden is 1,600. Altogether, it's 4,600, and for the most part, it's a lot of gold. However, the amount of time that you save is enormous. So on average, it takes me roughly around 2 to 3 hours in order to complete a section. I know maybe you can go a little quicker, but for the most part, let's say it takes around 2 hours. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8 hours total. In the same amount of time, you could actually be just farming chaos dungeons in tier 3, exchange your shards for tier 3 enhancement materials. On most of the servers, tier 3 enhancement materials cost quite a lot. So if you look at the solar protection, it's 700 gold, solar blessing is 378 gold, and so forth. Great honor leaf stones sell for 820 gold on my server, and for the most part, in 8 hours, you can farm way more than 4,600 gold. So basically, in tier 3, you're going to be farming extra chaos dungeon runs in order to fund all your characters, because that way you'll be able to get a steady stream of gold and also enhancement materials from Mario Secret Shop, and you'll be able to level up your alts a lot quicker. So make sure you take advantage of this. You save a lot of time here, even though you have to spend quite a bit of gold, because at the end, you're going to be able to push all your characters into tier 3. I'm not here to show off or anything, but for the most part, I have 2 characters that are in tier 3, 2 characters in tier 2, and basically I don't have any other character in tier 1. So that's what I'm going to be doing next, is leveling up another character. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about is that you should actually go at your own pace. I can handle only 4 characters. One of my buddies has way more characters than me. He put more time into the game than me. He has characters in tier 3. Only handle what you can handle, because if you try to do too much, you're gonna burn out. If you can only handle doing 2 characters, 3 characters, you're in a better spot than what you were at initially. So do what you can manage, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be burned out. You want to enjoy the game, and you want to try to progress as fast as you can while still liking the game, right? So make sure that you just don't burn out and actually manage your time effectively. But that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully this video has helped you out, especially if you just joined the tier 3 club, or if you're just looking for more things to do in Lost Ark. But hopefully this video has helped you, and I'll catch you guys next time for another video of Lost Ark. Peace.